Grace, and welcome to our YouTube channel.
Thank you for having me.
So, this is actually a question that came to me on Instagram about how do you actually set up an accountancy practice? And you are, of course, the owner of Hardy Accounting. So, I would love to sort of pick your brains on how you do that. So, just to start off, can anyone set up an accountancy practice?
So, legally, yes, anyone can set up an accounting practice, but I would never advise that just anyone sets up an accounting practice. I would always advise that you have some sort of formal qualification.
Okay. So literally, I could set up. I mean, I'm a chartered accountant, so I could anyway. But before that, I could have literally just set up an accountancy practice, even though I'd have no clue what I was doing.
Yeah, so obviously you need ICO, you need insurance, and you need AML supervision. So most accountants will get AML supervision from their professional body. So for example, I have mine with AAT, but you can have AML supervision from HMRC. So you don't need to be a licensed accountant, but it's like 2/3 of all complaints come from non-licensed accountants. So that might be Dave from the pub thinking he can give accounting advice, and that's where a lot of complaints and issues come from.
Interesting. Okay. So, how do you know when you're ready to open your practice? So, you completed your level 4 AAT, you're qualified, but I guess, as we say, just because you can open a practice doesn't necessarily mean that you should. So, how did you think, you know what, I'm ready for this?
I think because I'd had a lot of experience, so obviously I'd worked for 3 years before I opened my practice, but I'd also helped family members with tax returns and things like that. So I felt like I had the experience and the qualifications to be able to open a practice.
What's the first thing you should do?
I think obviously one of the first things you should do is pick a name. It's always difficult. Pick a name, make a logo, and then obviously sort out all of the legal bits that you need to do to be able to be an accounting firm.
Okay, and what legal things do you need to do? So, I guess set up a limited company on a company's house, or can you be a sole trader?
So yes, you can be a sole trader. I even started as a sole trader because I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not. So I'd rather have less legal admin to do. So I started as a sole trader, but as I said before, to get your ICO, your AML supervision, as well as your license, if that's the route you want to go down, and also your insurance is really important.
Okay, so what stage are you in your business now? Are you 1 year on?
Yes,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Are there certain things that you did at certain stages within that year? So a few months in or 6 months in? And I guess it will be different for different people, but are there certain things that people should know about when they're just setting up their practice?
So when you're setting up, it's really important to understand who your ideal client is. So go away, make a client avatar, name your client avatar. So it's writing down what sort of things like their income, do they have family, how old are they, where do they hang out, what industry are they in? And so you're able to market and advertise and get leads for your accounting practice, because that's what we all want at the end of the day. We want clients. So it's really important to go away and do that work and understand who your audience is. Then what you need to do is understand what marketing channels that you want to do. So it might be for you, you hate social media and you don't want to be on there, which is absolutely fine. So it might be that you want to do networking events instead, or you want to do email marketing, or you want to get different spaces in magazines and on website and all that sort of stuff. You need to decide how you're going to market and advertise so that you can produce clients and therefore revenue for your accounting firm. So that's probably one of the things I would do in the beginning, and just see what you stand for, what's your USP, what makes you stand out from other accountants and bookkeepers in the industry. Because Sophie, who runs a social media management, she can go to any accountant she wants, but why is she going to come to you? What's your USP? Why do you stand out from other people? So that's really important to think of. And then later down the line, it's thinking about eventually either outsourcing work, subcontracting it. Do you get people in house? That's sort of something to think about when you feel like you've reached capacity, especially when you start out. We both know this. You're running around like a crazy headless chicken, trying to do everything from sales to marketing to lead gen, and it's unhinged, to be honest. And it's not sustainable in the long term. So you need to think, how are you going to delegate the work?
Yeah, very interesting. And I don't think I've learnt the answer to that. It's just if I know I can't do something that well and I don't have time for it, I outsource it. And if I've got the funds to do that. What would you say are the main hurdles to overcome when you're first setting up your practice?
I think it's making sure everything is right legally. And getting your agent codes are really important. So you're able to get clients to authorize you to be able to submit tax returns and things like that is really important. All those fiddly bits at the beginning that no one tells you about, those are quite difficult to navigate. But sometimes I genuinely think it sometimes is just finding your first client is so difficult because you don't have any reviews on your website. If you're going down the social media route, I started with 0 followers, which was really embarrassing, and I just looked like another spam account. And so it's building up your trust and credibility with your audience and with your prospective clients in the beginning is such a challenge and a hurdle to overcome.
I honestly think it's amazing that you've done that because, I mean, that's something I'm constantly trying to do at Accountancy Hub because, as you said, you just start from scratch. You don't have any reviews, you don't have any feedback. And so I've been building that feedback from individuals so that I can then go to clients, big corporate clients, and be like, look, here's the feedback that I've got. Um, how did you how did you secure your first client?
So my first client was actually a family friend. So I was shouting about the fact that I had started an accountancy practice. And so my aunt said to one of her friends who had a friend's daughter who needed an accountant. And that's how I got my first client. But then all my other clients since have really been through social media.
What are the main rewards of having your own business?
I think there's so many. I think all the opportunities that I've been so incredibly grateful to have is something that I would have never been able to have or completed in the corporate world ever. I also think the flexibility of choosing your own clients is massive. In corporate, you just get assigned to a client and that's it, and you have to do it. Whereas now I can say yes or no to clients if I want to work with them or I don't want to work with them. And I think the flexibility, time flexibility aspect is huge. So if I want to take a morning off, I'll just take a morning off. I think we both know that I love my sleep so much. I sleep 10 hours every single night. And so I don't want to get up at the crack of dawn at 8 a.m. to start at 9. It doesn't suit me, it's not my routine. And so running my own business gives me the flexibility to be able to wake up later, but also work later if I wanted to.
Yeah, definitely. I absolutely love the flexibility, and I think so many people set up a business because they need that flexibility that being employed hasn't ever offered them. What have you learned about running a practice? So this individual who got in touch with me and said, I want to know how you can set up your own accountancy practice. Clearly, they must have got to that point where they're like, it's something I really want to do, it's something I can do. What advice would you give to them?
I would always say don't be afraid to ask for help. I think a lot of people set up a practice because they want to, and that's brilliant, but they don't necessarily know everything. I didn't know everything, and I probably still don't. But I have those people around me where I can go ask those questions. And like, there's no such thing as a silly question because we've all just opened our practices for the first time. And so you learn so much by doing, and it's being able to have that supportive network around you so you can ask as many questions as you want.
Definitely. As an entrepreneur, it's been so good to meet you and meet other sort of young, I mean, I'm older than you, but youngish entrepreneurs who were all in the same boat, just figuring stuff out as we go along. Are there any communities specifically for accountancy practice owners that you would recommend people join up to?
I think there's so many, and there's so many new ones like sprouting out everywhere. But when I first wanted to set up my practice, I came across the Six Figure Bookkeeper by Joe and Zoe on Facebook. And that community is filled with so many lovely, lovely people. And it's just a really nice community to be able to ask any single question, and someone will reply for you and answer that question, which is so valuable. And obviously, there are loads of the accounting events throughout the year as well. So it's so nice to be able to see them in person too. But it's more just having a look and like seeing which community you resonate with. Because there's a lot of communities out there that are fantastic, but they're not the one for me, and that's okay. So it's just about going away and doing your own research and finding your tribe.
Is there anything else you would say to someone who's thinking of setting up their own practice?
I would always say to reach out to people that are further along than you in their journey, because they hold so much value and knowledge. So there's accounting owners that have been open for 7 years, and I've always been cheeky and asked for half an hour of their time just to pick their brains, and that's really valuable. But also finding people that are on the same journey as you. So you, for example, we get a lunch, we get a brunch, and it's so lovely to be able to catch up because you understand how difficult it is to run a new business, and that's so refreshing, and you do need that, because as much as I love my mum, my sister and my friends, some of them don't understand how difficult it is to run a business. So to have that support network around you of like-minded people going through the same journey is so unbelievably valuable.
Definitely, it's so important. Much that was so valuable, and I'm sure that anyone who is thinking about opening up their own practice will get a lot from this conversation. So, thank you.
Thank you for having me.